This is my new AMD Radeon RX 970 graphics card. It's the Gigabyte Gaming Factory Overclocked Edition. It is not the XT version of the card, but unlike a lot of NVIDIA 5000 series cards, I was actually able to walk into a store and buy this, although it was the last one they had in stock, and not pay an obscene price. I paid $8.49 Canadian for it, which is a little bit over what the MSRP should be. I think for the non-XT versions of the card, it should be about $5.49 USD. So if you do the math, I paid about $60 Canadian more than the MSRP should have been. However, this is an overclocked edition of the card, so typically those cost a little bit more anyways, and they are a little bit higher quality. Maybe they're a better die than the regular 9070s, but either way, what I'm going to be doing is opening this up and installing it into my computer. I'm no wizard at this stuff, so you're probably going to have a good laugh at how bad I am at it. I've currently got an RTX 3060. This is a Galakuro gaming card. It's a Galax brand, but Galakuro is for the Japanese market. I don't know how this one ended up in Canada. I bought it off of Facebook Marketplace from some guy during the pandemic, but it's been an excellent card. But for DaVinci Resolve, it's a little bit long in the tooth. That's the software I use to edit. The 12 gigs of DRAM are filling up pretty quickly. It's decent at 1440p gaming. I don't play a lot of games. I'm currently just playing Chivalry 2 right now. But this thing should beat the pants off of it. And unlike the NVIDIA 5000 series of cards, it's actually obtainable. I know your mileage may vary if you try to pick one up, but at least in Canada, we seem to get a pretty decent stock of these. My big concern with this, and it's the reason why I didn't get the XT version, aside from the fact that those are several $100s more, is this says minimum 750 watt or greater power supply, and this isn't even the XT version. I only have a 600 watt power supply. It's a pretty crappy EVGA 600 bronze PSU. It should be able to run this no problem, at least if I disable the overclocking. I think there's a switch on the card where I can do that and put it into low power mode. Also, my CPU is pretty low power draw. It's a Ryzen 5700G. I think it uses just 65 watts, which should give me some headroom. But unfortunately, that means I'll just be running in PCIe 3, which will knock a few percent off the performance of this, but I do plan on moving to an AM5 platform later this year anyways. So I don't mind if my GPU kind of leapfrogs over my CPU. So opening it up, we have a quick start guide. I think I'm probably going to get like a 9700X or something along those lines later on, which should be a much better match for this. Now, I've heard that the non-XT version of the card is quite small. This is the first time I've ever actually seen or held one of these, but to me, this actually seems kind of big and chunky. But let's make it so I can't return it without paying a big restocking fee. We'll just cut this. And we are in. So there's the card. It's kind of a beefy bastard. I don't really like this decal here that says gaming starts here on it. I think I can, yeah, let's peel all this sticker nonsense off of it. Remove before use. This is the fourth different GPU I will have installed in this PC. I built the PC back in 2018. It's on a B450 motherboard. It started off life as a Ryzen 2400G, and then it became a 2700. Now it's a 5700. And I've gone back and forth between AMD and NVIDIA cards. From a content creator's point of view, this one is supposed to be much better than previous generations of AMD cards. It's apparently got way better encoding, particularly for live streaming. So I'm curious to see how that performs, but there's the card. It's pretty beefy. It looks like it takes two 8-pin power connectors. So let's head over to the PC and put this bad boy in the computer. There's my current setup for work and play. It's a 3-monitor setup, obviously. The one in the middle is a 180 Hertz MSI gaming monitor, but it's also super color accurate, which is important. The one on the right is a 100 Hertz 1440p monitor, and on the left I have a 1080p monitor in portrait mode. So what we'll do is we'll hop onto here and I'll remove the NVIDIA drivers. Then we'll head down and rip the GPU out and replace it. So I think the best practice for switching from one graphics card manufacturer to another is to run the software called DDU. I've already got the new AMD drivers loaded and ready to install, but we're just going to go ahead and make this happen. I haven't backed anything up. We're going to kind of YOLO it. Display driver uninstall. DDU has detected you are not in safe mode. I've done this multiple times. I've never gone into safe mode. But it says, for a better cleanup without issue, it's recommended that you reboot into safe mode. I think a lot of people will just kind of manually uninstall their NVIDIA drivers from control panel, but I believe this is the recommended way to do it. GPU, NVIDIA, English. So I will choose clean and shut down for installing a new graphics card. So this is yanking all the NVIDIA software off the machine. Executing setup API remove. Please wait, can take a few minutes. So this is removing any and all traces of NVIDIA drivers. I think the idea behind going into safe mode is it might have trouble killing some of the active processes and removing them if you're not in safe mode. And the reason we're doing this is just so the AMD drivers don't have any conflicts with the existing NVIDIA drivers. Sometimes if you just remove them through the control panel, they don't completely remove. Just chilling, you know, usual Sunday afternoon, waiting for DDU display driver uninstaller to remove. And a few minutes later, it shut down my PC, so we should be good to go. Got the GPU ready. So by removing the NVIDIA drivers completely, or at least hopefully completely, that should avoid any conflicts with the new AMD drivers. And yeah, my PC is quite dusty inside. Like I said, I'm going to be building a new one later this year. And let's pretend we don't see all those messy cables down there. I've tried to clean that up so many times, but I end up just plugging things in and unplugging them and moving stuff around, and it just ends up like that anyways. But let's get on to the fun part, ripping out the old GPU and putting in the new one. Well, here's a position I never thought I would be in recording a video, but since I'm lazy and didn't put the side panel on properly last time, that was easy enough to take off. So what we should do is flip the power supply off, touch some metal, ground ourselves. Not really sure how much of a difference that's going to make. And we have to take these screws out. I just unscrewed something and I don't know where it went. Oh, there it is. And being a dummy, I just took a screw out that I didn't have to because that one wasn't holding anything in. We'll unscrew the GPU. This is a 2-slot card, so there's 2 to unscrew. Maybe I should have taken the HDMI and DisplayPort cables out. So there's a look inside my PC. I've got 2 intake fans at the front. There's one up on top that I think has stopped spinning. That's the CPU and the exhaust fan. I've got a 2 terabyte NVMe drive. And there's a couple of drives hidden on the back side of the case. So we've got to remove, maybe I'll put the camera down. Yeah, we've got to remove this PCIe cable here, and I'm going to have to get the other one free. Pull the little pin there, and that should free the GPU. There we go. Thank you for your service. All right, I've got both PCIe cables here. This one isn't quite sticking together, but these are two 8-pin connectors. All right, let's get the card into position here. Get the cable out of the way. Push it in. All right, I think we're in. Oh, I can slide this here. Reveal some RGB action. That seems like it's in there secure. Yeah, and the little tab seems to indicate that's locked. Now we have to plug in the 8-pin power connectors. That's one in, no problem. This one is giving me problems. Get in. This piece is supposed to just clip on here, but it's not doing it very nicely. There we go. Just give that an extra shove. This is how not to install a GPU, I'm sure, but there we go. Everything is in. I'm just going to go ahead and screw the front. All right, I've got all three monitors plugged in. I believe I've got the graphics card connected. I think if I slide it this way, we'll see some RGB light up there. So let's turn the power supply on at the back. We'll fire up the PC. There we go, we're getting power to the card. That's a great sign. Of course, we'll want power once it comes under load. Enter the recovery key for this drive. Press enter to continue. Press escape for more options. Press Alt for additional BitLocker recovery information. Yoink! And my PC shut off. All right, I was able to fish my BitLocker recovery key out of Google Drive, which is very fortunate because I wasn't able to recover it on the Microsoft account recovery page, but let's see if this works. We are in. That was a step I did not think we would have to take. But let's go in here and we're gonna start the Adrenaline software. So just a heads up, if you are running DDU, definitely make sure you have your BitLocker recovery key. That only applies, I think, to Windows Professional. Or you can just disable BitLocker. Help AMD improve your experience by sending system usage information? Nah. Accept and express install. So far, so good. I am so glad I backed up my BitLocker recovery key to Google Drive. And I didn't put it on the Google Drive that's associated with, or the email address that's associated with my Microsoft account. But I'll update you once this is done, and hopefully we are cooking. And it just went black. There we go. We have 3 monitors. Oops, something went wrong. AMD software cannot install as a Windows update is currently in process. I've heard it's best to disable Windows updates. Let's check something out here. We'll make, oh, I can't make this one. Okay, this one is my main display. We'll identify, that's good. So my main display is running at 144 Hertz. It should be running, I think, at 180 Hertz. HDR certification not found. AMD software has detected that your system is currently running with CSN. AMD software has detected that your system is currently running with CSM enabled. This is not an officially supported configuration for your GPU. We recommend you switch to UEFI mode if possible for optimal performance. I think I need to dip into the BIOS and fix that. Also, I think we have to restart anyways because due to a Windows update, I wasn't able to fully get the AMD software installed. This has been a bit more of an adventure than I bargained for, but let's go into the BIOS and see if I can turn off CSM compatibility mode. I don't know if I hit delete or F2 to get in there. Let me just hit both. It's not good. There we go. Delete. There we go. All right, I think I found the culprit. We'll disable CSM support. And I'm also going to turn on resizable bar here. Or we'll put that in auto. Apparently that can help performance. So we're going to go back into Windows here, but so far everything seems to be running okay. That's hilarious, either disabling CSM support or enabling resizable bar triggered the BitLocker recovery. So I guess this thing's really sensitive to any type of hardware change at all, but I'm going to go ahead and do that song and dance once again. Everything's up and running. I'm doing a sample encoding of a 4K 60 video using the AMD encoder. Usage about 80% of the GPU. It does use more of the CPU than the NVIDIA encoder, which is a bit odd. And I've been monitoring the power, and I haven't seen it go over 100 watts, even when gaming, when I've maxed the card out. But I'll keep stress testing it and report back. It's running great with Chivalry 2. I've got it at 1440p epic settings across the board, and we're currently hitting 150 FPS. I would have got about 80 or 90 on the 3060. There we go, just got a kill. I've also done some stress tests, and it seems to be holding up. I don't think there's going to be any stability issues or need to upgrade the GPU. My CPU is clearly the bottleneck. I'm getting spanked a little bit compared to other benchmarks with the same card, but they all have better CPUs. I found a few with 5700Gs performing about the same as me, so I'm reasonably satisfied that everything is set up and running correctly. I'm about to die here. Or not. now I'm dead. Putting the controller down. Yeah, I look forward to using and testing this GPU out a little bit more. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a keeper and find its way over into my new system, but I hope you enjoyed watching me tinker with the new graphics card. Almost had a bit of a problem with the BitLocker fiasco, but luckily I remembered to upload my BitLocker key to Google Drive. And there is Gigabyte software where I can turn off that RGB or change it to do whatever I want. But anyways, yeah, that's the new Radeon 9070. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support what I do, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership down in the description. I've got an Instagram account at Johnny Strides, and there's a super thanks button appearing down below if you wish to say thanks that way. That's the standard end of the video spiel. I'm struggling to pronounce stuff that I normally that's the standard end of the video spiel I normally give at the end of my Johnny Strides videos. And levels like this are usually really taxing on the GPU because I've got the particles enabled. That's all the rain and stuff, and I don't know if that's focusing, but we're still hitting a decent frame rate. This is one of those ones that would have brought my other graphics card to a crawl. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Yoink.